So, before we go into today's teaching content, any questions?
Sorry.
Yes, please, don't be sorry.
So I just wanted to ask you about the birth process. So if children, like let's say both my kids didn't have the normal birth process, it was early birth because they were like, induced. Will that show up in a family constellation? No.
Okay, so that's a good question. It might, I don't want to say no, but when you need this knowledge is more when you're working with somebody who has the symptoms or who you interview and then you find out that he has excess of birth energies or has had a too early birth, so he has not had the chance yet to create the birth energies and to use them up. So then you can work with that if this is the problem, the issue they have, or if you feel that is in the way for further healing. Yeah? So this is always in the context. But I have so far not had a family constellation where we were constellating, let's say, 3 generations. And then, well, although I think I remember one where one of the representatives shows signs of problems with their birth energies that actually had to do with the family constellation. But so I would say it's not necessarily coming up. It's probably not even common, but you definitely can add that to your own toolkit if you see this is present in a client or somebody you work with. No?
But let's say I want to work on that. Can I just go to a constellation and tell the rep to represent my child and represent me and then
fantastic. Let's do that. That's a good idea, Kaisha. We should do that in the next workshop. I think I would love to do that. And see how it goes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, we are always open for new experiences, of course. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking about it because I know both my children have had not normal births. So yeah.
You know what is fantastic, Kaisha? The next workshop is a Mother's special.
Mother's Day. Yeah.
Mother's Day special, so that would be very appropriate to do that. Here you go. We're definitely gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, right. Shall we continue? Okay. So, here we go. Today is, that's what we're looking at. Oh, why is this? Hang on. Something's wrong here. Here we go.
Yes.
Now you see. Okay, so today we are talking about regressions and past lives. That's our topic. Remember, yesterday we talked about the birth and the movement towards the mother. And this time we're talking about the other part, the other side of life is death, and what was before and what is after. You might know the saying that is often used. What is this in English again? The saying, it's a matter of life and death. Yeah? You have that, right, in English. We have that in German too. Yeah. But this is not accurate. There is no matter of life and death. Life is not the opposite of death. It's birth. It's a matter of birth and death. Yeah? You give birth, you are birthed, then you die. You're birthed. Life is always existing. Life is not dying, and life is not birthed. Yeah, and this is a misconception, and it is really interesting if you are really focused and if you're reading words and then then think about the context and then find out that they are used in a way that is really not describing the life correctly, right? And then start to use it in the way that it is that is correct, right? It makes a big difference, because remember when we talked about spiritual development, that this is a very unhealthy and is a hindrance in developing spiritually to lie about things, yeah, or make things up, yeah. The same is to repeat things that are not true, because they are confusing, yeah, on a specific level. So they are vibrating quite low, and this is confusing. Something so innocent, like this saying it's a matter of life and death, it's confusing because it is not true. But you kind of get the information that life is ending, right? And that is not true. So we have to correct ourselves and be really aware of what words we are using, also for our own spiritual development, let alone when we work with clients, obviously, right? Okay, so that's just a couple of words up front to what we do today. Let's go into it. What are we looking at today? Is the death, the whole process of death and dying. We are looking at the concept of past lives. We are looking at reincarnation and family systems. We are looking at reincarnation and karma. We are looking at some of the traditional belief systems, and we are looking at the sole cause of diseases as well. And then finally, I talk you through regressions and when we use this and how we do that. So let's start with death. The simple truth is there is no such thing as death. Life always lives on as energy, which is only changing the vibration, but cannot go away. There's only a change from physical to non-physical existence and then back to physical existence. And this is a never-ending cycle, and this is called the cycle of life. Yeah. So that is to put the words in the correct context. So the death, the process. Now we are going into detail, like we did when we looked at the birth. Yeah, what is happening when we are dying? So the change is from this time, from the physical reality into non-physical reality, of course. And the birth was changed from non-physical reality into physical reality. It also takes 9 months to prepare under normal circumstances. It is exactly as the birth process. The electromagnetic field that is holding the emotional and spiritual body close is getting weaker and weaker until it cannot hold them back from leaving. Yeah. Remember, the spiritual law of attraction is that the heart which is creating the electromagnetic field, is obviously getting weaker because it's old. Yeah. And this is a muscle, so it's tired, and then this is also important to have this time of 9 months to prepare to transition. Yeah, if this is all going the normal way without no diseases and no Alzheimer and no fear and no, and like if it's how it meant to be, like how a natural process of transitioning. Yeah, and if you allow yourself to prepare in that way, then I've been told that it is a very beautiful and peaceful, how can I say, process when you witness this. It's almost as if somebody is pregnant, right? Just the other way around, because they are kind of going towards another existence. When you prepare, you also can choose where you want to go, right? That's the other thing. You are not in a victim energy, if you will, or you don't have a say, or you know. You are not bound to the in-between world or anything like this. Yeah, and that I think it's a really good. If you think about it, that's really worth living for, right? To choose what is next. Yeah. So and obviously I'm not dead, so I cannot tell from my own experience all of this. I have learned this from Malcolm Southwood, right? Who has had a lot of people guided into this process of dying. So it apparently feels like a little bit dizzy and disorientated when it actually comes to the moment when the electromagnetic field is too weak, when the heart starts to stop. And that is often also reported from near-death experiences that people have, that they kind of go through a corridor or something like that, a tunnel or anything like this, which always, I think, that is like the birth canal, right? This is the same. It's kind of interesting how similar that is. They see different colors. They have a change of perspective. Apparently, they can still see the earth and what's going on, and most see their body, and some even see this silver cord, which is, holding the soul towards to the body, until this is also broken off. And everything seems to be more vibrant and clear and sharper. That's what commonly has been reported. So interestingly, what we know now is that you don't see with your eyes, yeah, because obviously they leave their eyes in their body behind, and they still have something to see, like they still see. They see the bed in the hospital and their body and the people around, and all of this is reported, yeah? So you do not see with your eyes. Isn't that interesting? So you're seeing with something else, which is not in your body. So this is also a hint that the mind is not part of the body. The mind is not physical, right? The mind is more like the morphogenetic field, a cloud that you can access from all realms of existence, right? What else? Everyone is on the same journey, but with different destinies. That's also important. So everybody goes through the birth process, and everybody goes through the death process. That nobody is better or lesser, or that is just the human experience, right? That's what we do. Also, there are different dimensions apparently that you can choose off if you're ready to do that. So not everybody needs to reincarnate. That's the other thing, right? So if you wake up one day in your lifetime, you say, you know what, I don't think I had it seen all. I I don't feel like I want to go back and have another life on Earth. Yeah, then you can use the rest of your lifespan to shed, all these emotions that would bound you through the astral world to the earth, and choose other dimensions of living. Yeah. So where is this coming up? Not coming up. Only the ones that are sticking to the in-between world are not going through the corridor, has been reported. Yeah, because there is no corridor. It's not like giving birth. It's not like dying. They are actually in the no zone. They are actually as I said before, these are the representatives in the family constellation who don't know that they are dead, who are lying on the floor with eyes open, right? So they haven't transitioned really, because it's a soul journey, obviously, and the soul is stuck in the in-between world. If the soul goes back to the astral plane, then it will go to a color or to a realm that is in the color of the emotion it has become. Now, when we talked about the color of the emotion it has become, what do we mean? Is this the last thought that you die with? That would be shocking, because probably everybody is a little bit afraid, and the color red would be very crowded. the color of fear, and nobody would be in the other colors. That's not how it works. When Malcolm Southwood says the color that you have become, then is this your main vibration. So if you read the books of Dr. Hawken with his emotional color, emotional frequency chart, right? Then he can, or he said, everybody can find the frequency that a person is in through kinesiology, that is muscle testing. Yeah. So everybody has a certain frequency that is the emotion that they are at the moment. That doesn't mean that they are angry at the moment. That means that is the overall attitude. Yeah. Some people are always fearful, regardless what they do. Some people are always happy, regardless what happens. Yeah. And that is the dominant vibration. And that is the emotion that is attracting you to the regarded astral plane. So no worries. The last thought is not what counts. It is all the thoughts before, right? That counts. The spirit leaves the soul behind and goes back to the light. We had that scene in this little animation just before yesterday. Okay, so now we have an exercise. We are going in a guided meditation. And in this guided meditation, we will go into corpse pose, which is a yoga pose, Shavasana. And corpse pose is meant to experience kind of death, if you will, in the body. Yeah, this is the original yoga pose of Shavasana. And I will guide you through that. And so be ready. As always, no, we do it a little bit different. So I would like you not to sit on the edge of the chair. Now I would like you to be really comfortable. So you lean back, you have your cushion, or you can even lie on the sofa or on the bed, as long as you can hear me. So make it super comfortable. Put your legs up if you want to. So you really feel comfortable. Have your cushion on your belly or on your back or wherever. And take your time. That looks very cozy. Yes, very good. Okay, so give me a thumb up if you can still hear me clearly. Okay, very good. Right. So do some last adjustments and then close your eyes and focus on your breath. Focus on the deep belly breath. Allow the breath to be received deep down at the bottom of your spine. And exhale fully so nothing is left. Inhale and exhale. Continue breathing and relax with every breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And let go of all the thoughts of the day, all worries or excitement. And allow yourself to completely relax. Your feet are relaxed. Your legs are relaxed. Abdominal, buttock, inner organs are completely relaxed. Your back is relaxed. Your shoulders, the chest, the heart, the lungs, relax. Fingers and hands relax. Arms are relaxed. The neck, the throat, and the jaw is relaxed. Mouth, nose, ears, and eyes are relaxed. Face, the skin, the hair is relaxed. The brain is relaxed. Now you draw all your awareness to your right leg. You feel your right leg connected to the floor or the bed. You feel the weight of your right leg. And then you let go of your right leg and it is vanishing as if it was never there. And then you are aware of your left leg. Feel the left leg, the weight of the left leg. Then you are aware that the left leg is vanishing. And then you ask yourself, my legs are not there. Am I still there? And then you feel your right arm, the weight of your right arm. And then you let go of your right arm, and your right arm is vanishing. And you ask yourself, am I still there? And you see in front of your inner eyes your left arm. The left arm is still there. You feel the left arm. And then you let go of your left arm as well. And you ask yourself, am I still there? And then you see your torso with all its parts. And you feel the organs and the weight of the torso. And then you let go of the torso and it's vanishing. And you ask yourself the question, am I still there? And then you see your head is remaining you feel the weight of your head. And then you observe how your head is vanishing. And when also your head is gone, you ask yourself, am I still there? And you find the answer for yourself. It will come naturally to you. Nothing you really need to contemplate about. The answer will be spontaneously there. And knowing of the answer before you even think it. The answer is in itself existent. Self-awareness is not bound to a body. And if you have a feeling of relief, knowing, having experienced this truth for yourself, then take that as a gift with you. And then slowly you will come out of this meditation. You will move your toes and your fingers. You deepen your breath. Take a deep inhale and an open mouth exhale with a noise like ah. And in your own time and when you are ready, you will open your eyes and feel relaxed and revitalized. You want to share? Yeah? Okay, you go.
I think I fell asleep. I'm not sure. But I was dozing in and out. I heard your voice, and then I thought, oh my God, am I sleeping? And then I heard your voice, and then I was afraid I would actually not wake up at all. but I think, in and out of a semi, I don't think it's meditative, but like I think I was in a very calm, maybe
Yeah,
alpha state. I don't know.
very good. So don't worry about that, Kaisha. You can, in the video recording, when you hear the meditation, you can do it again if you haven't experienced it fully today.
Thanks.
Yeah. Reem, what do you want to share?
At the beginning, I think I panicked a little bit. It was like, lose your life. Like, no. And then I was second, I was like, no. I was like, oh, now I see. I don't need them.
Very good.
Where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like the first thing is like, what would I do without my leg?
Very good. That's very common, this reaction. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially, like I broke my leg recently, so I know how hard it is to move around without it.
Yeah, you don't need to walk.
But that was very beautiful. Thank
Good.
you.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Very good. Thank you for sharing. And Rosemary?
I found the experience with letting one leg after the other and so on go. And then I really had the feeling I didn't have any legs.
Very good.
Now I felt like, oh, okay. But then I thought, now pay attention where the right leg went, but couldn't feel it.
Very good.
Whoa!
Very
Interesting.
good.
Thank you much. And very calm voice, and yeah, very good. Thank you.
Very good. Awesome. Very good. So this is as close as we can get to the experience of dying where we are not dead, I suppose, and while we have not a near-death experience. So I invite you to do this again when you watch the video. And it's really, really insightful and relaxing at the same time. Very good. Okay, so let's move on to the concept of past life. Are you all fresh now? Not too sleepy? Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So as I said before, I mean, obviously in this group we are together. Obviously we know about past lives. I mean, this is a given. When we work with family constellations, we permanently have to do with dead people with alive souls, if you will. So for us it is kind of something we observe all the time, yeah, but not nevertheless there are concepts, there are groups, religions, social culture, whatever, they say no, there is no past life, there is no future life, all of this. And I really don't mind, even if somebody in the course would think like this, it doesn't matter. It is just that we do experience past lives in family constellations, and I will tell you exactly why and how that works. So we have to be familiar with the concept, yeah? Okay. So on the soul journeys, all emotions in all shades and facades have to be experienced and owned. That is the actual soul journey. So we are all on the same journey, as I said before, right? We are all going through several experiences to experience the same from individual viewpoints. Yeah? Because every individual soul, not personality, every individual soul has its individual twist, how they create life. Nothing is exactly the same as the other. And that's the beauty of life. That is the beauty of creation. That's pure creation, pure creativity. To finally enter the world of light, we need to be enriched with all these experiences, right? It needs to be complete. Yeah. So we also don't have the will or the demand or the desire to experience more emotions. And this is also, I like this term very much, and this is this term is formed by Ramta. Do you know the School of Enlightenment, Ramta? No. So he was talking about you have to digest these experiences and emotions, and I like that because you really have to make it your own. You know, you're not just experience it, you are digesting it and becomes part of you, right? Food, because you are the food that you are digesting, and this is the same with emotion. So when you don't want to, so we always think, so how do we get rid of emotion? How do we go through emotion? How do we enrich with them? How does that work? How does that work? And I think the best picture for that is we are, digesting it. We are making it our own. It becomes part of us. So it's not something we have. We don't have an emotion. We have digested it, and now we have the experience of the emotions. Yeah. And so we go through the whole scale of the frequencies of emotions until we are as high as we can get, to not be attracted to a color in the astral world at all. Another thing I want to convey here is also, although there is a lot of other concepts about that, my personal experience is past lives are not linear. Yeah. So past lives are not like, there is not a timeline. It's not like you had like 108 lives from 10,000 years ago to now, through all the cultures and ages. It is from the soul perspective, it's choosing and picking which age, which time zone, if you will, which timeline do I want to incarnate into to have this certain experience. And a soul could have lived, like, let's say 2010 and died, and then wants to incarnate in 1560. Yeah. So we have to forget about this timeline. Yeah. This is not exactly how it works in the spiritual world. Every soul is working on their karma, meaning cause and effect, finding out what is the cause, what is the effect. Karma is not a punishment, it's nothing religious. Nobody is punished. Every soul decides what they want to do. As long, I have to say that nowadays we are very aware of all these manipulations and tricks that are played with people. That's the same also in the astral world, right? So you are not, how can I put that? You need to be aware of tricksing, yeah? So you might are tricked into wanting something which you really don't want at all if you wouldn't be manipulated into. So this is another work that you are going through when you are spiritually evolving, that you again confidence, that you know you are free soul and you want you to direct your life as you wish and not somebody else. Yeah. So just bear that in mind. We have pretty much deception on all levels of existence until we come to the world of light. So when I say we want to work on karma, need to be sure that it is really your karma you want to work on, right? So that's all I say. So the unborn soul is innocent and ignorant by nature, right? Because you forget about it when you are born. You don't remember it. This is the concept. Otherwise, experiences wouldn't be possible. If you would have remembrance of all your past lives and everything you have experienced in whatever epoch you have experienced it, right? Then you would not be innocent when you are born, right? You would be full of experiences, but that's not how it works. You need to work every lifetime. You need to work through stuff again. But the good time is then if you have a soul purpose, like if you have decided you want to work on your karma and this is your soul purpose, you will remember it. Have you ever had that this insight that you feel I'm on the right path when something happened or you learned something or something changed, or then you all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, I really feel I'm on the right path here, right? Have you had that? Yeah, very good. And this is because the soul, she doesn't remember exactly what, so the soul doesn't make you as a person remember exactly what the soul purpose was, but you feel it. There is guidance. Yeah. So you are guided towards your soul purpose. How do we do that? We are not resisting whatever's offered us in our life. We accept that and say, okay, so I'm offered to go there, I go there. Let's see what's happening there. Because this is where the soul wants to steer you. And when you're resistant because of conformity or social pressure or fear of change or anything. This is just a delay. You're just delaying your soul journey, right? That's it. So the guidance is always there. We just need to be aware of it and hear it and have the courage to follow it. Every life experience is different for every person, so there is nothing alike. This is the beauty of creation. That also means that we are all on this journey alone. It is not so that we can do that in a group or together or somehow, yeah? We are alone on this journey. However, we are social beings and we are reflecting each other like a mirror in each other, right? So we need the reflection in the environment we are in, and we need other humans definitely in our lives to be able to realize ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to. Malcolm Southwood says we have 144 lifetimes at the minimum, but most of us have thousands. And now don't get me started how he comes to 144. It has actually also to do with astrology and all sorts of things. But I just take it as a concept, and I did a lot of regressions in my own, during my training, and I stopped counting anyhow. It was definitely. So if anybody is talking about 3 or 4 or 5 past lives, that's not possible. I mean, maybe a very young soul, but nobody that you will work with is a young soul because, this is not a fit. Nobody is want to heal a family wound who's a young soul. I mean, this is not going to happen. So for this, you can be assured that your journey is already quite far. And there was a lot of lifetimes already behind you. Let's look at reincarnation and family systems. So the soul has a certain genetic imprint from the previous lifetime on Earth, right? And that needs a familiar environment for a smooth transition into a new body with alike genetic material. And obviously, the closest or most alike genetic material is that of the family, right? So therefore, reincarnation into the same family system happens often. That is actually the rule. Yeah? Which brings us also to the phenomenon that we are representing ourselves in a family constellation all the time. For example, a client can be, as speaking from a soul journey, can be the same soul as the great-grandfather in the family constellation. Yeah. Until the soul has finished a certain stage and moves on to new experiences, to reincarnate into a new environment. This is kind of like a leap or a quantum leap or a step, a big step for a soul. So it reincarnates into the same family system for a while, and then there is nothing to learn anymore. No? And then the soul said, okay, I take a risk and I want to reincarnate into a new family system. And these souls, they often feel in this new family what we might call a misfit. They often feel that they are different than the family member, and the family members often feel that they are really different too. So sometimes they say, "Oh, I must be adopted," or especially as a teenager, comes so weird ideas. Why I'm not fitting in here, and so this is because it's a new family system, and you are not accustomed to it. And also the genetic material is not very close, so there are some problems that you have to overcome. But however, you have chosen that to make a big step forward in your experience. So who of you has felt anywhere when, especially teenage times, as a misfit in their family? Me too. Kai said too. Very good. You too, Rosemary?
I'm just completely different to my brothers.
Ah, here you go.
For example, our, what is it, the priest, or he said, is he your brother? Are you his sister? Doesn't work. No, can't be. I was his favorite pupil and my brother was the nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So one of you was a misfit then. We don't know who. So, but that is so. Is this more like a feeling you feel? It's more like what you feel. When you feel you don't fit in, then I would say I would suggest strongly that you made just a big step from another family system into this one, which is great, no? Because this is a big step forward in your soul journey. The next life is designed in the astral world. We talked about that yesterday, when the soul is in the color and the emotion that has become and meets the others and then contemplates and then maybe thinks, oh, I really want to experience unconditional love. Right, I'm ready. I really want to know how that works. And then, that doesn't happen in one lifetime, right? Obviously, you need many for those, but then you are ready and you want to do that. And then you might end up saying, in the families, I need a new family system. The family system I'm in, they are very selfish, and that's not going to happen. I can't learn that there. There's nobody who can guide me. And that would, I'm just, making something up. That would be like an example how a soul chooses to take the risk and tries to get into a new family system. Often these births are, the conceiving is already difficult, and then the birth can be difficult too. And sometimes it takes a couple of births, which then leads to miscarriages in the family system, and then if somebody has multiple miscarriages and then the child is born, then it is often the same soul, no? So it's just trying to come into this family system through a new mother, through a new genetic material, which is not so easy. So it takes some trials and errors. I had a client in one of the workshops who we actually saw that in the family constellation, that it was the same soul. She had 2 miscarriages, and then she was pregnant when she came to the workshop. She was very happy about it, and we looked at it she was nervous because she had these 2 miscarriages before, and she was very nervous about the pregnancy now. And so we looked, in the family constellation at the baby, and then both miscarriages, and then we found out that it was the same soul. And very happy to come. It took 3, it just took these attempts. So the likelihood is there that it was a new family system for this soul, because this takes a little bit of effort to be able to come through. What else do I want to say here? The in-betweeners are going back to the same life situation. Yeah. So when we talk about the souls who are stuck in the in-between world, they have they can go nowhere to contemplate or design a new life or anything like this, right? They would go through. They would be in deep sleep at best, and then they would, be thrown into a similar life situation again. This is also what happens to suicides, right? Because suicide is the suicide victims, or how do you want to call them? They are also stuck in the in-between world because they have this misperception of life and how that works, and they have to learn that. So they come back in the same situation. So it's really a waste of time to do that. And a waste of resources, if you will, right? What else is here? Reincarnation and karma. So karma, as I said, that's just a Sanskrit word for for cause and effect. This is not good or bad, and it is not a punishment neither. So if you hear that, or that bad karma and this is superstition. This is not what I mean here. No, it's just that when you are not careful and you I don't know, and you jump from a high rock and you break your leg, just as a matter of example, right? Then you have caused, with your uncareful jumping from a high rock, you have caused that you broke your leg, right? So that's as easy as that. But then this cause and effect goes through lifetimes as well. So when you have, for example, caused in this lifetime, let's say, suffering for, let's say you were, let's make something up. You were a teacher in a lifetime, very frustrated, and you were in a very low vibration energy, and you were really teasing or bullying your pupils to an extent that caused suffering to them. Then you would you would contemplate in the astral world, and you would want to know how that feels. So then you would come back in a reincarnation in a similar situation where you are the victim and not the perpetrator. And that is not a punishment, that is, you choose it, because you need to experience both sides of everything, or three or four, or however sides there are, right? And this is why we need so many lifetimes, because otherwise we would never go through this. And we choose this. This is nothing that you know, we choose this. We want that because we know this is the only way how we can develop our soul, and to enter the world of light with all this enriched experience. So there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing bad with it, and that is not a punishment at all. No. What are soulmates? I know I have to correct it probably in English. It's probably more called twin flames, what I'm talking about, not soulmates like good buddies or something like that. I think the term twin flames is more common in English. In German, it would be more translated as soulmate. These are two aspects too. So these are the female and the male aspect of one soul, if you will. And I don't want to spend too much time in this concept, how the soul on its soul journeys through the densities, that is the dimensions, at one point divides. But if you're really interested in this, the Gnostics, they have very excessive explanations how this all works. So you could go in very in very great detail about that. But just in general, when a soul is quasi going through the dimensions or light dimension until the densest in a dimension, which is then the astral world, which then becomes the physical world for the soul, way up in the ladder of dimensions, one soul is dividing into female and a male aspect. And then they become separate souls, and then they go on in their soul journey. And then when both of them made the same experiences in different lifetimes, in different circumstances, all different, and they go back through the dimensions, then at one point they reunite again and go together, like as one, if you will, back to the source, to the light, to the source. So that is what is meant with twin flames. And it is definitely possible to meet your twin flame, but that would indicate that it is your last cycle, because you normally meet your twin flame in your last cycle. And it is nothing romantic, by the way. It is the opposite sex, but it's not romantic. It could be an old man or even a child, or so there's nothing about it. Is not about that, right? It is just there are some signs that you meet, and if you know that, then you know that the likelihood that it's your last incarnation is very high. Yeah, so that's something. that I want to convey here in case you have this experience. What is the soul family? So we have a spiritual family, we have a soul family, and we have a physical family. Obviously, we know the physical family is our family system. The soul family are the people in your color. So on the astral world, that is your soul family. That is why when you leave your physical body and you go to the color, you feel at home, because that's like-minded besties. They are all there and happy to see you, right? So that is your soul family. But then there is your spiritual family, and that is the family that is quasi waiting when you go through a dimension. So as I said, I don't want to go too far, but then the spiritual family is when you are going back through the dimensions to your home, if you will, where you are originated. Because the soul is basically the emotions and the experience that you made, but your higher self, however you want to call that, your light, is above that, right? That's above that. So that's what you are. The rest are the soul is experiences that you have. So that's the spiritual family. And then it says that's the saying, the family of 17, which is your true home. So that means that you are basically always meet the 17 same souls when you are incarnating somehow in different roles, because you decided you wanted to do this experiences together for a lot of lifetimes. And this is also why we might feel very familiar with other people, with some people and with others not. And this is not so much that we know us, like people say, oh, I must have known you from a past life or something. It's not quite as simple as that. But yes, you might incarnate together a lot. That is true. But it is all designed in the astral world. So it is designed to go through this together. Yeah. So that's interesting, and you might start to count in your in your life who could be the 17. And they are not only friends; they could be also enemies, of course, right? Very important. Very important. People you don't like are most likely the ones you are sticking with, anyhow. Because this is the experience you really want to do, because you want to go through these emotions, you want to go through all of that. Yeah, that is what the soul is seeking. The soul is not seeking pleasure, right? Like all the time at all. The soul is seeking challenges to improve and go through all these emotions that then eventually are digested to go up in the ladder of frequencies of emotion. These are the family phases you meet on Earth. The misfit, we talked about that. Let's talk about traditional belief systems. So there are many belief systems that believe in different ways of past life or not in past life whatsoever. They are all coming from different transmitted scriptures, basically. Yeah, so there's a lot of knowledge. There's also in the yoga tradition, which I have studied a little bit. There are different, ideas around past life, which is fine. As I said, that is totally fine. We don't need to go there. That's not exactly what we want to discuss here, or what is better or not. This is all, everything is concept, which you cannot experience yourself. Is still a concept. That's obviously by definition, right? So you have to experience it for yourself. And as we all forget when we are born about our past lives. What can we do? We go in regression, right? And in regressions, we can actually experience our past lives. And why would we do that? Well, because often we have the cause of an issue that we experience in our lives here is actually in a past life. So this we have to consider as well, because we take some of these imprints with us on our soul journey. Traumas, I mean. from past life. Let's briefly talk about soul cause for diseases. Severe illnesses in children are most likely caused in the family systems and in past lives. Because the child is born by nature is innocent and ignorant, and when a severe illness like cancer or something is in a small child, there is absolutely nothing the child could have possibly done, you know, to cause this. So the cause is most likely in the past life or in a family system, or both, if it's the same, right? And we can apply and we can look at it in a family constellation, and we do not need to know in a family constellation if this child has like a past life trauma. This is not important. The soul doesn't need to know that. The important thing is we make it visible through family constellation. And that's the important part. So we would go through the generations, we would find out the cause, we would apply what we do, it would heal, and it would, you know, that would be the relief for the child or for the mother who comes with the issue. And we might know as a facilitator when we have a lot of experience that we were actually looking at a past life, but we don't need to share that. Yeah, that is not important for the healing process. And some people are probably not open to that anyhow. So I would not normally not share that if I see that it's a past life. Kidneys are the soul cause of a kidney disease is a feeling or an emotion of being trapped. So when you have a client comes with a kidney issue, right? Then the question that would break the ice would be, where do you feel trapped? The bladder is loss of control, especially in women. So again, if a woman comes with a bladder problem, you would ask, where do you feel you lost control recently or whenever it started? The breast is always mother issue. And of course, we have a lot of breast cancer cases, and we have a lot of misconception about the mother relationship anyhow, especially in modern times. Yeah, because the how can I put that? Because in former times it was more traditional to respect the parents, yeah, and that was not questioned. And as you know from family constellation, to accept the mother as she is the only thing that heals. Yeah, everything else is causing a disruption of the flow of love, and we have learned to be very critical and very demanding, and have lost a little bit this, you know, being respectful. And I think that is also very, very related to the high amount of breast cancer that we see. That the mother is not accepted as she is, respected, and that the children therefore not be able to open their hearts to their mother. And then the daughters, that is manifesting in their breast, this lack of nourishment and care that they can't receive. So the lungs are unshed tears and unlived grief. So if somebody comes with a lung problem, you could, you know, you could start with the process of healing by asking, what is it that makes you so sad? Yeah. Whom have you lost? Things like that. The digestive tract stands for problems in a relationship. When there's something. And then leukemia is overwhelmed with responsibility. That is this blood cancer, right? And interestingly, I know a case where this is exactly the case. I know a person who put on a really great scale. I think you say in English, chewed more than she could bite. So no, bite more than she can chew, something like that. So yeah, in a very great scale, and all of a sudden she was diagnosed with leukemia. Yeah. What else do we have here? Pancreas problems, problems making decisions. So when somebody comes with a pancreas problem, you can ask, okay, what is it that you don't want to decide that needs to be decided? For example, leaving the partner, going with another partner, like life-changing decisions, of course. Then the brain problems is a spiritual conflict, like almost like a war going on. It's either neglecting the own spirituality, that's often the case, or rejecting it even, or being at war with it. All internalized, of course, all internalized. The throat, incapability to answer, to see to set the foot down, or feeling powerless. Well, that's quite literal when you can't speak out. You know, have something with the throat. You should speak out, but you can't. The prostate, this man loses his power, and this is often when men retire, they have prostate problems. So that can be a good reason for that. Liver and bile is unreleased anger, so hidden anger. So there is a saying, I don't know whether it's a German saying, but there is a saying, when somebody's always so super friendly and so super nice and so super friendly, they always make a fist in their pocket. So you can't see it, you know, so you can't see the aggression. You will need to be very, very careful with people who are always nice and always friendly and blah, 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 because they have hidden aggression, and they often have a liver or bile stomach problem. So bone and skin problems are self-destructive and have low self-esteem problems, right? So that's a hint that can go in this direction. But as always, this is just like kind of like a one out of many hints you get, right? We always in a family constellation want to look at the disease and see what the disease is actually conveying, being represented by somebody else. So we are not going, even if we know all this, then we have a client, we are not going in a discourse about it. It's just for us an information that we think we look in this direction, or we may ask one or two questions in this direction. But it's not that we are not assuming this, right? We still want to do a family constellation, of course. Okay, so we have a break. So today I'm earlier than I was the last 2 days. So that's good. Let's discuss a little bit what we have. Let me just stop sharing what we have just talked about. If you want to unmute and share your thoughts about that. Or questions. Yes, Rosemary.
I have a question. I think I already asked you the question, I think 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and you said I had to wait. Okay, now comes the question.
All right, all right.
With this reincarnation.
Yeah.
So in a way, when you have a family constellation, all these people are dead. So in a way, when their soul is here, have they reincarnated somewhere else?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm not quite sure I got you. Can you say that?
I got it.
You see, in a way, you have, for example, this grandmother and great grandmother, and in a way there's a soul movement there. So in a way, have these souls already reincarnated somewhere else?
Yeah. Of course it can be. I don't know. I don't know that, but yeah, of course it could be. Yeah.
So in a way, we are working with these souls, but they have already moved on.
Yeah.
And we are just tidying up.
Yeah, exactly. We're just tidying up. That's what we do. That's a good word.
So can we ask the souls, who are you now? Which
That's so cute. I'm not sure if they know that. I'm not sure if they actually know that. Because when we are working, like when we are working with a representative, let's say the great grandfather of somebody, yeah. What we are asking, the information from the morphogenetic, we are not working with the soul. We are working with the morphogenetic field and the information we get from the morphogenetic field, right? And it will just reveal what is important for this constellation. It will just reveal what is important for this issue that, you know, that the family soul wants to heal, the wound it wants to heal, right? We are not a kind of speaking to a soul, if you will. We are not, that's not what we do, right? I'm not even quite sure if you can do that. So what we need all this information that we have is for us to put everything in a context, yeah, to know, to have a concept, to know, work about, if to see things, yeah. But it's not that you can put everything into a family constellation. You know, that is more the background or the knowledge you have for the work. So let's recap. Yes, a soul can incarnate in the same, and will in the same family system. So let's say you have a great grandfather and a sister of a client, yeah. No, yeah, they can actually be different agendas, and that would be the same soul, yeah. We would not know that because we ask a great grandfather question that comes from the morphic field, how they feel, and then we would ask this sister at another point about how she feels, and that would be related to somebody else. So it can be the same soul, but you know, the answers would be independent from that, because that's not exactly what we need to work with, right? We just call it then when they move, when the representatives move. Bert Hellinger has called it the movement of the souls. Yeah. Later then has said going with the spirit and not movement with the souls anymore, right? So this you can't take literal. So, you know, so we are not actually working with the soul. We are always working with the morphogenetic field. Yeah. Does this answer your question, Rosemary?
Yeah, and I think it's more Kaisha's question too.
Yeah. Does it?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Otherwise, we can discuss this more.
All good?
Okay. Okay. Reem, you said, yeah.
So you were saying that if you meet your soulmate, that means this is your last life cycle. So how do you know that's your soulmate? Especially that you said it could be a child, it could be the janitor, it could be like someone completely like not a romantic like relationship.
Yeah.
Could be.
Okay, so I will, so how can I put that? So I have met my twin flame and I can say how that was. The eye color changed from blue to brown in a split second. No, his.
yes.
So an older man was it, and he had some blue eyes, and then we went and we always felt very, you know, some strangely familiar. And then we had and we could always tell what the other was thinking. That was also weird, you know. So there were a couple of things that I was really like, I was very confused, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew I was very attracted. And then we had a brief discussion. We met briefly, and then I saw that literally his eye color, which was blue, changed into my eyes. So I saw my eyes in him, right? And I don't know, because I didn't discuss it with him, I was too shocked, whether he had the same experience. I don't know that, but I know that. And then with all this confusion, I was very confused about all of this. Then a few days later, a good friend of mine told me, and this is the synchronicity where you can go by. No, this is what, you know, your guidance is giving you as a guide. Is she told me that she had a discussion with somebody else, and this somebody else told her that he met his twin flame or soulmate because the eye color changed. And she told me, you know, weird, very weird. So then I knew, oh my gosh, wow, what is that? And then I also read in one of the books of Ramtha about soulmates, something similar. And then I knew, oh, that was it, right? But I never discussed it with him because we didn't meet again, right? So it is not made, so it's not, as I said, it's not romantic, it's nothing, it's just this moment that you know, and it could be completely different with you. Like it doesn't need to be the same as it was with me, but it was this moment in time when you knew, and then you get the information as well. Then you know how to put where to put it in. You know what that all means, and then you know, okay. It doesn't mean it's a last lifetime. It can also, you know, sometimes you're crisscrossing paths. You know, so it's not necessarily. However, I have long ago decided that I'm not coming back. So for me, that was even before I met him. I have decided that. So
Look, I have a question.
yes, Kaisha. Huh?
So how can we decide we don't want to come back? I don't want to come back.
You know,
to-
I understand. Me too. I'm done.
That's
I've done
good.
a lot
If
of
you
healing
feel
and
you're
cleansing.
look, if this is your guidance, if you have the feeling lots of people are so addicted to this earth experience, yeah, they cannot even fathom to leave it, let alone not to come back. You know, they have so many things to do and so many more things, and so, you know, that is normal. That is normal. It is not normal to say, you know what, I'm done, I go somewhere I've never been before. That is not like, you know, that's a fraction of the people that would say that. And why would you say that? Because you feel it. It's just something you feel. You're probably born with this because you have decided, as your soul have decided. Now, if if your plan works out or not, that's totally up to what you do with this lifetime, right? Because if you are becoming an emotion that is not vibrating, I don't know, in the top 300, then you might, you know, be attracted to a color nevertheless when you die, right? When you leave your body behind. So it is just something that you might want, but if you achieve it in your lifetime, that's another question, right? Yes.
So in a way, you decided not to come back. So in a way, do you have some steps you follow to make it happen, or
Yeah.
Raise your vibration.
Yeah. So yes, definitely. So first of all, lifestyle choices, we talked about that, right? So not to harm anybody or anything. Harm is always bringing you back. If you harm anybody or anything, you know, you're bound to earth basically through that. That's one thing. Then the other thing is also to spiritually prepare. So you will be attracted to information that you gather. You will be very attracted to information, how you can make choices, and there's so much, you know, there are so many wisdom schools. There are the tablets of Tod and Toth in English, and so on. There's just one out of so many. You are attracted to this information because they are, if you are able to see and to read, they are talking about how this journey is or can be or what you can do. You know, you're attracted to this information and they will be there for you. You can trust that. Yeah. And if you're not attracted to this information, this is not, then it's probably not your time, your last time. You know. But these are the information that has been transmitted till the beginning of time. It's just it's not very convenient and it's not nothing, you know, it's not a casual literature. It's something that you dig out. And when you dig it out, it all of a sudden resonates with you so much, you know. You're really like, oh, really? Oh my gosh, I was waiting for this information for so long, you know. Yes, Kaisha.
How do you explain the number of souls increasing in the world? Because number of people are increasing, right? We have more.
I know it. I have a really funny explanation. You would laugh about that. You would laugh about that, but I'll say it because we are entre nous. It's just us. I think these are dogs. They're coming back as humans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's.
That would explain a lot, to be honest.
Say again?
Why
That would
not
explain a lot.
Why not cats?
I'm not sure about cats, but I know for sure that dogs that are so close to humans, right? They choose that to be a dog, to be so close to human. And if they are so close to human, and if they are, and then also, that's what Malcolm Southwood always says, is when they are dying when they are ready, and they are dying in the loving presence of their owner, that they can come back. They have a choice to come back as a human.
In the family system.
Maybe in the family system, maybe. So that would be the first life. That would be the start of a cycle of incarnation. Yeah, not every dog, but that needs to be this very deep relationship between a human and a dog, and almost that the human is inviting the dog in. You know. Oh, there's a beautiful book. I have to tell you that. It's called The Art of Racing in the Rain. It's a novel, The Art of Racing in the Rain, but it is from the perspective of a dog. And I don't want to give the end away, but this is what we are just talking about. I have almost given it away now, but no, it's a fantastic book. So it's a lovely summer holiday literature. The Art of Racing in the Rain. So that's my explanation for 8 billion people. 8 billion people at the moment, but I'm sure other people have other explanations for that.
Just sharing something as a Hindu, right? When I was growing up and if we did anything bad, our grandma would say, oh, if you do something bad, you'll be born as a dog or a cat or a rat in your next birth. So you won't come back as a human. So we used to get really scared.
Have you bought that?
When I was young, I was scared. I used to believe it, but is it true? Like if you do something bad, could you degenerate?
Okay, I don't think so, to be honest. I think once you made it as a human, you will remain a human.
Okay.
I cannot quite grasp how that would work to reverse to a lower organism. But everything is possible.
They have a soul, but not consciousness like us. Like
they don't have consciousness, but they have a soul. So I don't know.
Yeah, soul, but they have no self-reflection.
Downgrade.
Yeah,
they have no self-reflection, and a human is the only being, as far as we know, that can self-reflect, and so improve also on their soul journey, right? So that's,
what if they are vibrating what if they're vibrating at 20 and 40 all the time? Can they
then they have a lot of incarnations. That's the other explanation for 8 billion people is that they always come back, that nobody leaves to the light. They come back the whole time because they don't evolve. And then there is another explanation that I have heard of is that why we have so many people, because all the souls that are capable, they want to incarnate now because we are in a very crucial time, and they all learn a lot now. So that's another explanation. So I like the dog explanation, but that's just me. Rosemary.
I have another question about the family soul. So in a way, for example, if there is a family and there are no kids, so what does the family soul do? Will it, I don't know. What happens to the family soul if it's not in a way carried on?
Yeah, good question. Let's hope the family soul is complete, or closing the books, or whatnot. I mean, the family, you know, you have this family where you're talking about is wider, right? They are brothers and sisters, and they have made sure. So the family soul, the family system is large. So when you have no child, then this branch is like a tree. This branch will die off, but not the tree. The tree is not dying off. It still has roots and it has other branches. So that's the family system, so to speak. But yes, I agree. There is the possibility that the family is dying out. Of course, can. Yeah. Can.
So what happens?
I don't know.
Way,
it's just finished. Just finished. I don't know what family souls are doing. And also when we say, oh, we have an earthquake. When we say, have you felt it, Rosemary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. So when we say family soul, now this is not literal. I have no concept about family souls moving around and through worlds or something like that. That's not the same. This is kind of when we. It's more like the identity of a family system. That's what I mean with the family soul. Yeah. So I would not transfer, I would not go so far to transfer what I know about the soul journey of an individual soul to transfer to a family soul. I'm not sure if a family soul is on a journey as such. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Shall we make our break now here? Yeah? Okay. Yes. I see you in 10.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here we go. So what is a regression? So a regression is meaning we are going back in time, which could be any time that has, you know, passed. So it could be a regression can be going back to last day or to the childhood or to birth. It can go into the womb of the mother and it can go beyond. So we can go then in the past or the former life of another past life. We are not regression into like in the other like layers of existence, like astral world or something. That's not meant with regressions. Regressions are meant when a soul is incarnate. Yeah, that's a regression. So that is a regression, and we are regressing with one soul, a soul that is on the soul journey. So when you have a regression, it is your soul, you know, that is incarnating in different bodies that you can access. You cannot access other souls in other bodies, right? This is not a regression. Why do we need a regression? Now, some issues, some causes of an issue are not related to the family system. They are related to a past life or to a childhood trauma. And both are unknown. Remember, the child doesn't remember trauma, even if it would be old enough to remember, because the subconscious mind is burying it and locking it in. And we do not remember any traumas from a past life, neither, because we are born without memory. However, we can access the morphogenetic field to receive these information. Yeah. And that's what we do in a regression. And obviously, we need this information to heal heal with the tools that we know from family constellation to let the, you know, the flow of love flow again, we heal it where it was originated, regardless how many lifetimes ago that was. So we release either memories from this life, which is hidden in the subconscious mind, or we are accessing via the morphogenetic field a past life. We can also use regressions to get rid of possessive energies, excuse me. Possessive energies or attached spirits. That's also a tool that I will teach you how to use this for this. We can find the soul cause of a specific disease. That is often why somebody comes to you, right? It is most often a disease that is due to a childhood trauma or to a past life. If it wouldn't be a disease, we would probably more look into the family system, right? Like if they would come with relationship problems or alike questions, then we would typically do a family constellation. However, you could also, if the family constellation doesn't yield any results, you could also try a past life regression if the source of the let's say the relationship problems is actually originated in the past life. It's possible, right? That's possible. So when does a client needs a regression? Well, you decide that. Obviously, you decide that when you think that is needed or not. It could be, so we always need a regression to access a childhood trauma. There is no other means that I really know of where you could do that. Other than that, we need that also for a past life trauma, because a past life trauma will also not show, most likely, in the family constellation. We need a regression if somebody's under the influence of foreign energies as well, because we are practically going to the moment where this possessive energy or attached spirit has taken possession of the body. Yeah. And then I will show you and step by step how to perform a regression. The way I do, there's lots of ways, again, lots of ways, lots of people teaching regressions. I don't know any other method. This works very well. And I learned that with Malcolm Southwood, and that's what I would like to convey to you as well. So 9 steps. So now we are leaving, no, we are not leaving the 3. We're 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So again, we are back to our 3. The regression has 9 steps. So first of all, the client needs to go in alpha state. Right? You know how to do that with a guided meditation, like I always do. Then you need to guide the client back to the source of the problem. Just by saying you are going back to the source of the problem, that's your guidance, right? And I will demonstrate that later on as well, so you know how that looks like. You do have to affirm, and that's very important, you are free of fear, guilt, or shame, and that you are completely safe. Because remember, as long as there is guilt or shame in form of fear present, there is no access. There is no access to the subconscious mind or to a past life. It's like a barrier that's in between. So just affirm that you are completely safe. There's no fear, game, or shame or guilt, and that is how you establish this environment that the subconscious can let go of information. You have to repeat the whole procedure in the case of false memories, which are often, and I will give you some examples what false memories is. False memories looks like past lives, but they are not. And then if you are going astray in a regression with the false memories, you're going nowhere, right? There's nothing you will achieve nothing for your client. You have to find then the situation by asking concrete questions That is important, as detailed as possible. Because this brings the client in a deeper state of alpha and connection to the situation, right? So we cannot just swoop it over. It has to be really detailed, right? So you ask concrete questions. Where are you? How do you feel? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? All kinds of questions that comes to your mind for somebody to describe a situation they are in. Yeah. So I would urge you to literally think you are standing in this situation with your clients, yeah, but you are blindfolded. So you need your client to explain to you what they see, so you see it as well. That's kind of the picture I have, right? And then, if it's so detailed, he must give a description so detailed that you literally see the situation in front of your own eyes. Yeah. And then finally, in the case of a childhood trauma, you would ask, who is with the child? Yeah, because then now you are getting to the traumatic experience. Yeah? Then you will find the traumatic scene and what has been said. And if you go too quickly to step 6, it will not be revealed because the client would be too fearful to reveal it. Yeah. So this is kind of tricking the subconscious mind and giving the information to you that it doesn't want to give. Because you remember, it wants to protect the client from pain, emotional pain. Doesn't want to go there. So by explaining it, like letting them to describe that exactly the situation in the safe environment without jumping too quickly to the actual traumatic action, makes them feel safe, right? That's important. The 7th step is allow the child to express itself. That is a healing movement. Yeah, I have nothing to do with this. I leave it with you. I'm free to walk away. I'm innocent. Right? These are kind of the expressions that then the child, in the case of a childhood trauma, would say. If it's in the case of abuse or horror, like if the scene is, like if it's like a sexual abuse or it's a horrific scene with horrific things done to the child, right? The child cannot, the memory cannot reveal that. However, there is the way to take the child out of the situation, yeah, while floating above the scene without any emotions. The emotions are staying with the body, yeah. So then the child, the spirit, if you will, of the child can actually see what's going on without fear and then describe it. Instead of being in the body and describing it from there, because it's too horrific what has happened. So that is that's step 7. Step 8 is go in as an adult. So you would, not the healer, the client, you would guide the client to say, now you go in the scene and you push the perpetrator away from the child and take the child out of the situation. Because the child is the soul, is the emotional body, right? That has been kind of split from the physical body. This is causing through the trauma, this is causing the problem, whatever issue it is in real life, and kind of the emotional body is stuck in this scene of the trauma. That's where it is. So you need to reunite them again, right? You need to take that out and unite them so they can be together again and the love can flow again. If it is one of these cases of extreme pain, then you need to perform a spiritual healing, and that's another step-by-step instructions that I give to you. And then you can close the session. That would be then the step 9. So that's just in general how it works. And now we are going into the details and some examples. So alpha state, the client needs to be in alpha state to allow to work with the subconscious mind. You also need the subconscious mind to go in a past life, because the subconscious mind needs to collaborate with the client to allow to open up to let's say to information from the morphogenetic field about past lives, because they are painful situation, and the subconscious mind is job is to avoid memories of painful situations. Yeah, so we always need to make sure it's collaborating, and in alpha state it will. The alpha state is between 20 and 34 hertz, so it's above sleep, so the client cannot fall asleep, nothing would happen, and below hypnosis. We are never working with hypnosis. A, we can't do that anyhow, and B, hypnosis would mean that we are suggesting. Like, we are not suggesting anything to the client. The client is the one who is solely responsible and always leading the session. Yeah. So you are avoiding any kind of suggestive questions or any kind of steering the conversation in a direction that you think you want. You need to be very careful with that. Yeah. You always stay in present tense, otherwise you get the client out of alpha state, because it's not if they are speaking in past tense, they are not in alpha state, they are in their mind. But when they are in alpha state, they are experiencing it as if it is now, and they can talk in the present tense. So that would mean, I see, what can I say? I see my old house, instead of I have seen my old house, or I was at my old house. That is not alpha state. That is a memory, maybe wrong, from the mind, yeah, or from a photo even, you know, that comes to mind. Yeah. So alpha state is always in present tense. You would ask, is it cold? So you ask in present tense. So you don't say, was it? You don't say, was it cold? Then you're taking your client out of alpha state. Was it hot or cold? You say, is it hot or cold? Do you feel, or not have you felt? Do you feel hot or cold? No? So in order to not to make any mistakes there, it is really, remember this picture that you are standing next to your client in the past life or in the childhood, next to them. Yeah, you're not in your room and performing anything. You are with them on their journey. So then you are automatically talking in present tense, because you are there. Always, always, always say positive words. Never, ever, ever say negative words. In alpha state, the client is very susceptible to negativity in form of energies, from vibrations, not the words. So every kind, like if you say no or something like that, this is low vibrating energies, and the client is very susceptible for it and might get out of alpha state. So it always needs to be positive. However, I have yet not found a positive word for no fear. Maybe fearless is so no fear is kind of okay. Fearless would be probably better to say. You are fearless. You are free of fear, maybe. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's actually a lot of possibilities to put it positive. So say you are free of fear, you're free of shame, you're free of guilt, you know, you are safe, and all this positive. So this needs practice. This is why you need to do a lot of practice with your friends, and you don't need to expect that they are in alpha state, but you need to practice it anyhow, right? You need to practice the words that you say and how you say it and how you guide people in this. Now, when I say they need spiritual healing, yeah, because there was a case of heavy abuse or horror, done to this child in a case of a childhood trauma, but also if it's a childhood trauma in a past life, that's the same thing. Yeah. Then you literally have to take the child away from the scene and into something we would call heaven, which is not religious. It's a cloud or something. It's just another realm where these things don't happen, right? Another realm. And then this was the first step. I like to imagine that they are kind of flying towards up to somewhere. It seems to be more natural as down or inwardly, right? This is why this heaven comes to mind. Then your client and the child client, which are together, imagine a light shower that washes all the dirt away from the child. Because these remains of these happenings, these horrific happenings, yeah, are always guilt or shame or fear, which are really dark, low energies, and they are depicted as dirt. They are, like the child feels dirty, right? So this shower of light, the purpose is that all these emotions can shower away. Yeah, shower away. It could be water, but somehow light works better. And then also important is that both the child client and the client together see how this dirt falls off them, not only the child, also the adult, because he's carrying it still. So it's the same. They need to follow this dirt stream, right, until it completely dissolves. It's like the color. They need to see how the color where you put the emotion in is completely dissolving, right? Otherwise, it would be still there somewhere, but it needs to be completely gone. The same as with this dirt, if you will, with this negative emotions, they need to be completely gone from the bodies inside and out, as from the stream and from everything. So they are gone. And then the third step is that all gaps, again, that was the same with the emotional healing, that all gaps are filled with the light that's coming from the heart of the child. That is the source of the light that is filling all the gaps and holes that needs to be filled again when everything has been washed away. And then the fourth step is to dress the child and the client in new, clean, simple clothes. Most likely, would they be white? You can ask which color. They can choose, but most likely they will be choosing white, or you can suggest white. That's always good, as being clean and innocent. And then maybe number 5 would be to ask the child for a gift, because sometimes the healing needs a little bit of time, to completely integrate with the body of the client, and that might help them, because remember, we have a heavy abusive child here. If they have an object which they can identify with this newborn child, this newborn free child, free of this negative energies from the perpetrator and from their own fear or shame. You could actually go as far to say after the session to your client that he should go and buy this gift and keep it with them for a while, like a teddy bear or whatever that could be. So it's kind of supporting the healing. And then the 7th step would be take the child into your heart. So it's really melting with the client again, so it cannot be separated anymore. And then affirm, from now on, nothing can harm you. I will protect you at all times. I'm the big one, you're the small one. I'm to protect you, and we are one. So that would be the affirmation that makes sure that this wound, this traumatic experience is healed, in the child. And then you have the closing. Oh, so it's only 8 steps, not 9. So that is, and we will go through that. I will demonstrate that. So these are just the steps. 9 steps in a basic in a regression, and then 8 steps added when you have a case of horror or abuse, like like really terrific things have been done. So in a remote, you can do remote regressions after a while. Obviously, you need to have a lot of experience to do that. You have the same, you do, you go to alpha state, you do the guided meditation like I do that, to the happy place, to the safe space. And then you ask the client to see themselves as a child and how old they are, right? And you stay in same thing, you stay in present tense. And if you get no answer, then you let your client know that they see themselves as a child being between 5 and 7 years old, because that is about when the subconscious is kind of still in charge, but after that the subconscious is less in charge. So there will be most events will be stored already in the subconscious mind if he's 5 or 7 years old. And then you continue as above with the regression in step 1 to 9. Maybe add the spiritual healing, right? So that's just an added effect, or an add-on when you discover that there's a horrific event that has caused a childhood trauma. And then you guide out of the meditation back to the present room, like you know how I do that, with feeling the weight of the body, and connecting back to the body and to the room where the client is sitting. But the rest is pretty much the same, right? Okay, now a little bit. Yeah, Rosemary, you go.
Can you just explain to me remote regression?
Like online or on the phone, or
okay,
somebody
yeah.
is not with you in a room, actually.
Okay, yeah. The other question I had was to ask the child for a gift. So in a way, you say to the child, would you like to give
Would you like to have something? Yeah. What would you like to have? It's often a memory of, you know, like a teddy bear or something that comes up that the child like wanted something that protects the child, or that there's positive emotions connected to. Yeah.
So the gift is for the child.
It is for the child, but then because the child becomes one with the client, now it is healing sometimes. I don't do that very often, but sometimes it's really healing that the client actually goes and buys these things and keeps it for himself, for his own, for his inner child, if you will.
And the other question I have, you can't have anyone standing in for a regression. It has to be the client himself.
I have never done it other way. You mean a representative for past life regression? We can try. I have never had any of these cases, but who knows?
Okay.
Maybe you can. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Yes, Kaisa.
In the part when you said spiritual healing, do you take the child under the light, or the client as well? The client and the child.
So they can kind of hold hands or hug, or they're kind of going together. Yeah.
You go there with them as well? Are you also standing under the
you can visualize yourself there as well, but you are not there, right? This visualizing is not, it's just for you that you stay in present tense. That's important.
So the whole process, client is with the child. The client and the child together. Yeah.
And because you want the client and the soul child to connect when they are white and clean and there is all these issues are resolved, you still see, so you see them as two until they are merging. But the merging takes place after they had their cleansing process done, which is also a forgiving process, if you will, right? So then when the soul child is reconnecting with the adult, with the client, it's like the soul is free of these emotions.
So after they both have new clothes, then you merge them. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
yeah. They need to be clean,
And then
clean,
they-
and yeah. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So past life regressions are only for adults. I never would do that with a child. I don't know. I feel that's not responsible. So I do that only with adults. The intention is to access a past life that is causing the problem, obviously, right? As in a childhood trauma, the intention is to access the time when the client was a child, when he had this cause of the problem. The information will come from the closing, the environment, or a thought. So now when you go with your client through this first steps in a regression and you enter past life, then you would ask, as always, where are you? Who are you? Are you old? Are you young? This is also how you find out if this is a childhood memory or a past life memory, right? Because if they know what they wear, then they are like, if they, the clothes and everything is what they know. This is why I asked so in detail, and they know the house and everything. It's childhood memory, right? But if they don't know, if they are in an environment they don't know what, they can describe it, but they have never been there before, and so they think, or they are wearing clothes from another culture or clothes from another time, then you know that must be a past life. And this is also, by the way, when you do this work, then you also need to go a little bit and search in history and gain some knowledge, so you can actually, you know, when the client is describing something, where that is, right? So I don't know what the English term is for Allgemeinbildung. Maybe, how can I put that?
General knowledge.
Thank you. General knowledge is very important for this work, right? You cannot live in your little Eiffel Tower and read novels and then do the work, because you would not know what to ask you, and if you get answers, you wouldn't know where you are, so you cannot guide your client, right? So history is important, and geography, and also, and that's, as Rosemary said the other day, this is like being a detective, and that's the beauty of this work, right? So you have to really find out when, where, what, why, and how, right? Yeah, that's it. So you start with concrete. You start with, okay, with very, very, very simple things. So first of all, you ask your client if they have arrived wherever they go. You ask the client, how do you feel? Cold or warm? And then you say, look at your feet. Do you wear shoes? Yeah. And if there's a shoes, you would ask them to describe them. Are these boots? Are these sandals? What kind of shoes, right? And often from this moment on, you know already in which time you are, because they describe the shoes and you can, you know, connect the dots. And often they say they have no shoes on, right? They're barefoot. And then you would ask, okay, are the feet small or big? You know, to find out what age the client is, and then they would answer that. And then you don't know, is it a girl or a boy? So you would ask, look up your legs. Do you have pants on, or a skirt, or whatnot? And then they would describe it, and you would ask for the color, and then they really start to describe what they are wearing, and then they say, oh, I think I'm actually 5 years old, and this all looks very looks like a farm around me, or something like that, you know. And then they are there with their they have accessed the morphogenetic field with the information that they needed from their past life. So then this information needs to be very precise and slow, and take your time, right? This is actually where the success lies, to take your time, don't rush it. And as more detailed information you get, as more the client is connecting with the scene. Yeah, as more they are in alpha state and in there. That's very important. Now we talk about false memory, because this is now where you need to be aware. In this case, when you ask the client what you see, you know, often they see dirty feet, they are barefoot, they are cold. You ask them what they wear rags. They have just a rope around the waist or something like that, you know, and then they are dirty and that's cold and all of this. They are basically describing like very poor child, a very poor child, or a slave child, or something really, really poor. That is normally a false memory. Right, just to say, that is a hint of a false memory. The opposite is the same. If they describe, oh, I have golden sandals on, and I have beautiful dress, and it's full of diamonds and gold, and I think I'm a princess from Persia. That's also often a false memory, right? So the subconscious is tricky. It doesn't want to reveal this information lightly, and this is why it really wants to steer the whole situation away from where the pain really was, which is 95% a family issue. 95%. It's in the family, right? So if it's not, if the client doesn't see or a war, a family situation or a war situation, something like that. But this poor little girl that is that is in a dungeon or something, this is most likely a false memory. And so is the princess on a throne. So be aware what is happening. What is happening here? So the subconscious mind hides the current trauma behind a past life scenario, especially if the therapist works with regression. That is kind of the subconscious mind's tactic. Yeah, it knows the therapist wants to see a past life. It gives a past life, but this past life is fake. Yeah. And what do we use for fake lives? We use stereotypes. A stereotype, like the victim or the princess, or a stereotype, like you would read in a novel, basically. And that is what the subconscious loves. It loves to give you a novel. And every time you think, wow, that could be a novel, then you know it's a false memory. So you just need to be aware of that, right? The normal traumas are very in the family often, and they are very normal people, normal, you know, circumstances, if you will, no? Not extraordinary ones. So we have the poor little girl, the dark room, the dungeon, the medieval. Like, I guarantee you, the first regression into past life that you do with a client is not going to medieval. It will be maybe just the life before, you know. It will not jump like 20 lifetimes. This is not how it works. You work your way with your client back in time, and they go deeper and deeper, if you will, right? It would be very unlikely. So if they see themselves in a dungeon in the medieval times, that's a false memory, yeah? Yeah, or the opposite, as I said, a princess riding a camel or something like that. So how do we deal with false memories? We are dealing with false memories by telling the subconscious that we caught it. We caught it, and we are going now to the real problem. And I like to count to 3 to make the subconscious alert, yeah, that now it's for real. So I said, okay, now when I count to 3, you are really where the problem started. Really where the problem starts. And then you count 1, 2, 3, and then you ask the client again, where are you? How do you feel? Look at your feet. You know, do you wear shoes? And so on and so on. And you might come to another false memory. Fine, you can do that up to twice. So you can go 3 times back. If it's 3 times a false memory, I wouldn't not, you know, it's too long. You would just break it up, no, and try it another time. And not everybody is really receptive to regressions neither, right? And it's also as more you work with the client, as more they know you and trust you, as easier they can go in alpha state and trust and let go, as easier it is to access real past life memories, no, and not false memories. So that's also a matter of practice, and matter of practice with one client in particular. So we use the same stages to release attached spirits, and I talk you through that now. First of all, we go in alpha state. We ask the client to go to the current problem, pain, same. Then we ask not what do you wear, we ask who do you see, right? Who comes to mind? Because in alpha state, they let the guards down. The subconscious mind will reveal who's there, right? What it wouldn't do in a conscious mind situation. And often it says, I see my grandmother. And then that would be the grandmother who is attached. Yeah. And I never had, in this cases, I never had a false memory, ever. So that kind of doesn't seem to go like this in cases of attached spirits. So then you ask the client, we're working with colors, same as with emotions, it's really easy. Then you would ask the client, do you see a color with this person? Yeah? Is there a color with this person, around this person, or behind this person, or whatnot, a color? And then they would say any kind of color, and then you have your spiritual color chart. Then you know about, you know, the information. You don't need to know it, but you know, it's interesting. And then you would do the same as with emotion. You would have like an object or a space in this color, and then you would send the attached spirits there. And how you do that, I will talk you through. Because remember, compassion for all beings, this attached spirit is not bad. And you cannot just take him and throw him in his car. It's not how it works. He needs to go. He needs to make the decision to go. He needs to want to go. So you need to make them want to go. Yeah. You cannot just grab them and throw them in the color. This doesn't work. He will not be gone. So this is kind of the sequence of words that you say to the attached spirit to convince, with love, to convince the attached spirit that it has to go, right? And that would look like, so first, and then, so I will tell you how you convince them. And then you would also let the clients observe how it goes into this color. Like it's the same as with the emotion, it's always the same thing. How it goes into the color, and then this attached spirit and the color, they are becoming one. And then you see, you let the client visualize how this color is completely evaporating. So it's gone. So nothing remains. And one word of warning, if you see the color white, you know, what is it doing? White? It cannot be truth, because in this situation, truth is not present. It can only be hiding. That means that the attached spirit is not going. That means that it hides. You're not done. If it's a color white, you're not done. You have to continue doing the process until it's a real color. And then the spirit will go. Yeah. So white is hiding. Right. And then after the spirit is gone, the color is gone, everything is gone, you fill the remaining space with light from inside as always. Same procedure here, absolutely the same procedure. So sometimes you need to keep the soul child at the side of the client. Sometimes these happens. These attached spirits happened when the client was a child, yeah, and so it's a traumatic experience for the child, and you need to make sure that the child stays and not goes with the spirit, yeah. But this is only when there is evidence that the attached spirit is with a child. No, I have to say the adult has caught as a child, right? So it's old. Other than that, you don't need that step. And then if it's a child, then you do what you always do. You make sure that the child becomes one with the client, so they cannot be apart anymore, right? And then we have a closing of the session. Okay. So we have two. Yeah, let's talk about releasing possessive energies before we go in some demonstrations. This is absolutely the same. What is the difference between attached spirit and possessive energies? The possessive energy is possessive energy is you can catch that much easier than an attached spirit, but you can also release it much easier. Now let's make an example when people catching attached spirits. Remember, they need to be vulnerable, first of all. I give you an example. I had a client that she had a son, she has a son, and she was very upset because the son was a very lovely boy. I think he was 5 or something, 5 or 6, lovely boy. But every morning when she waked him up, he was using abusive language towards her, and it was very upsetting for her. It was really, really rude. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, he came down and he was his normal child again. And it was going on since years. And she was desperate. No, actually the child was 7 or something, because it was going on for years already. And she was desperate. She came to a family constellation workshop. And when she just, by the way, she talked about the problem of her son, I knew that it must be an attached spirit, because, you know, obviously, so the spirits, they are active when the body is sleeping, so in the night, and when you wake up in the morning, then the attached spirit is still present and doesn't quite get that you are awake already. So what you hear is actually what the spirit would say, not what the child would say. And then after a few minutes, the spirit would go, you know, hide again, and then the child would be released from all of this. So this is very typical that this happens in the morning. So just the way she described it, I knew exactly immediately that it was an attached spirit. However, I did not know her well, and I did not know how well she would, and also the other ones in the workshop, how you know, how well it would be if I say, oh, your son got an attached spirit. I wouldn't say that. So what I do is I say, okay, I know enough. And then I ask her as well, so when did it start? You always need to know when it started, right? And then she said, oh, that's probably 3 years ago or so. And then I said, so where have you been? Where has your son been 3 years ago? And then she's or just before that, just the time before. And then she said she was traveling with family, and they were at the mall, and he had an accident. The child was falling and knocked his head. And then the next morning he woke up and he started to be abusive. And then I knew, obviously, because remember, spirits hanging out at public places. That's what they do, right? They're hanging in public places where it's either addiction or attachment. Always remember, addiction or attachment. Now, a mall is obviously attachment to things or addictive to shopping. There are so many things that people are addicted to, right? So there's what the spirit hangs out. And when the child got knocked on his head, he fell and against the wall or something, his guards were completely down. No, because if you are just unconscious just for a few seconds, that's it, your guards are down. So the spirit jumped onto him and was there ever since. So, however, I didn't say her that. I knew from what she was saying what it might be, and then we did a family constellation and a representative, and nobody knew why, but I chose a representative for her son, for the attached spirit, which I didn't name. I didn't tell anybody that it was the attached spirit, and a third representative for the color, for the home where the attached spirit needs to go to, and nobody knew that. So now that was so interesting to see. The attached spirit to the son was really, he didn't want to be there, and he was really, and the attached spirit was really clinging to him, like the representative, right? Clinging to this boy, went where the boy went, like the representative, and it was so obvious. It couldn't be more obvious that it was an attached spirit. And then the color, the third representative was representing the color of the realm where the spirit belongs to, the astral plane, was there eager to get the attention of the attached spirit, which wasn't looking at them at all. He was only with the boy. And then I started to go through the sequence, which I explained to you now, so you know what to do to release it. So I talked to this representative that nobody knew it was an attached spirit and said, you can't stay here. And then the representative said to me, why? No, I want to stay here. And said, you can't stay here. This is against the universal law, the spiritual law. This is not your body. You cannot stay. It is like telling a dead person that they are dead. You need to be patient and loving and assertive. You cannot stay, right? And then it's kind of started to, in this representative startup, oh really? Oh, I cannot stay. Like waking up a little bit. And then you said, no, you have a home where you have to go to. They are waiting for you. That's exactly what you said, right? And then they says, and then you would suggest to look over to the third person, which is this home. And then and he looked over, and then this was so excited to see him. The other representative said, here, who? And they did not know where they was, of course, right? They had no clue. And then the attached spirit was looking to the boy, and then to the home, and there was so twist and turn, toss and turn. And then I said, try it, go a step, just try it out. And then it was so painful to see. And then this representative of the attached spirit went onto the floor and on the belly and crawled in slow motion to this, to his home. That was so painful to see, but it did it. And then finally they reunited, and then I sent both. When they were reunited, I asked the boy to watch them doing this whole procedure, and then send this to people, the represent out of the door, so he can actually physically see they are all gone, right? And then after this constellation, I explained it to her and the group, and they were all open to it. It was so obvious that it was kind of a non-brainer that this was the case. And then a few days later, a mutual friend of us, she said to me she saw her in the mall, and she saw her on the street, and asked her how her son is, and she said to her, oh, he's fine. He's an angel. He's totally sweet in the morning, And the good part is she did not connect. This is always happening. This is why your work is not so rewarding as you might think. Most people do not connect your work with the success, right? Because it's gone. It's like it was never there. That is the true work, is that they felt that it just was never there. So they also not connect the dots that there was a problem, and you know, you help them solve it. That is not in their mind. It's not there. This is very often, and that's a really good thing. So I knew then after a few days that obviously the spirit had, which I knew anyhow. I didn't need that to reassure myself, but it was nice to see that she did not connect the dots with the family constellation and the change of her son in the morning. So anyhow, so this is exactly how we work with attached spirit and possessive energy. It's the same thing, right? This is how it works. You always have to visualize the attached spirit is not bad. It is lost, and you need to explain and show the way home. That's basically what you do, right? No force. You can't use any force, right? Because it's not working. You have no tools. They must do that in their own time and out of their own will. Okay, so possessive energies is practically exactly the same, only that they don't see a person. They just see a shape, a texture, a consistency, a color, or something like that. Yeah. So you would ask not whom do you see? You would ask, do you see an object? Do you see a color? And then when they say yes, then you ask what texture does it have, what shape, and so on, until you, excuse me, until you come to the point where you got the color. And when you got the color, then you know, okay, we have a color, we can work with it, right? And then you send the object into the color, as you know now. And then you fill the remaining space with light. And again, make sure the child is at the side when it was, you know, with the client for a long time, since childhood. And do the same with the child, and invite it into the heart, and then you close the session. So that's the same procedure, only there's not a person, there is an energy that is represented by an object. Yeah, that's the only difference. And you don't need to talk to the energy. So if it's an attached spirit, you need to convince the spirit. If it's an attached energy, you can ask the client to, you know, to just push it out or leave it or something. It has no means to, it has no will, if you will. Yeah. To catch an energy is not a willful act. It's a coincidence. It's an accident. Yeah. For example, you are drunk in a nightclub, and there's this entity like this energy of addiction hanging out. Yeah, that will just take a ride, somebody who's guarded down, but it will also leave. It has no purpose to be there. It is like it's just attracted to it because it can, right? And then it can also leave. So this is not so demanding, let's say. You don't need to convince this object to leave, if you will. You can just ask the client to push it away or see how it goes. See how it goes. Okay, so dealing with foreign energies. That was exactly what I was already explaining, the family constellation situation. So that's what we do. Take your time, important, yeah. Always ask the client to see the color around the possessive energy. You always want a color that's easier to work with. Yeah, not only the shape, needs to be also color. And then it's the same as I just explained with the possessive energy. You need the third person in the room, the representative, to represent the color, the home, the astral plane, wherever this possessive energy needs to go to, this foreign energy. The client says to the energy, thank you for staying with me. Now it's time to part, which is, you know, thank you. It's always good to release something or somebody. You belong to someone else, not me. No. Or if there is like in a severe case, you can also say, what was that? What was this before? What was I just saying? Hang on, let me see. You can, then you can also suggest the client to say, you cannot stay here, right? As I just said before, it's against the universal law. That's practically everything I just demonstrated to you, or just from memory, what I explained to you, what was in a family constellation. You send them in the color, you watch them, you let them watch it, and then you finish the constellation when everything is done. And don't forget to send out the energy or the spirit with the color out of the room. So it's really gone, like gone, cannot see it anymore. That's really important. Okay, so that was that. We have time for an exercise, which is practically a demo. If we have time, you can also practice that with each other, but we can also do that in a practice workshop if we wanted to. I just take that off here, stop sharing, and questions. Yes, you go.
I have a question about what is the purpose of an attached spirit? What is it? And what is the difference between the possessive energy and an attached spirit?
The purpose why a spirit attaches?
Yeah. What does he do?
Because they don't want to leave. They want to stay. They are either addictive or attached to an earth experience. And they don't want to leave.
So
they cannot stay. They have no body. They have no body. It's just a soul. Yeah, they have no body. It's the spirit. To say spirit is not the right term. It's actually the soul. It's a emotional body, right? That is trapped in the in-between world, and they need a right to have their experience. They need a body. They have no. But they are so attached to this earthly experience of this addiction or attachment that they have. They want a body to experience that.
So
that's the attached spirit, or the possessive spirit, or attached soul, or however you say. And then the energies is just, remember when I said the curse, when there is such a strong energy body created that it kind of detaches from a person. This kind of energy bodies that are also hanging out in the in-between world, this is just there. If it has no, a curse has an intention towards the person, but a energy is only there because it's unintentionally created, and it will just coincidentally attach to you when your guard is down and you are there. It's just like a track is like, it's like a magnet that falls down, and it just flicks onto your fridge because it's in the area of the fridge. There's no intention. It's just what happens, right? Yeah.
And with the attached spirit, for example, he or she attaches him or herself, whatever, to a person. So in a way, they just would stay there till when? Would they just leave one day themselves?
No, they wouldn't leave. They would stay there until this person dies, and then try to find a new host.
Okay, thank you.
They're normally not leaving. Yes, Kaiser.
But sometimes attached spirits can be your ancestors, right?
Yes.
Could be your grandmother who's attached to you.
Yes.
But why?
Yes.
So why is that? Why should we clear them? Why can't they just stay to protect us?
Can't stay if you like it. You don't need to clear it. If you like it.
Will they harm your human experience? I mean, will they be?
They can. Look at the little boy who was abusing the mother and was feeling really bad about it, that he did that every morning. Of course, it is harming, right? And I have also heard, and you repeatedly hear that they actually, have we done that in our group? No, in the other group, in the other training group, we have one participant who we have detached a spirit from, who made her jump out of a window when she was 17 and she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that? Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it was in our workshop at your place.
Ah, okay. So it was an in-person workshop. Yes, yes, yes. So you know, yeah, they can do horrific things if they wanted to. It's not the, you know, it's not what you always get. But that's actually what happens, you know. They have their own agenda for some reason. But if so, ancestors, yes, they do, especially grandparents, like to attach to their grandchildren if they are very attached to the family. Like if you have a controlling grandmother who thinks without her the whole family will not survive, they will do stupid things, you know, a grandmother like this, and now she dies. She doesn't want to leave. You have one like her. She doesn't want to leave, and she will actually prepare. She will prepare her host. And how does that look is she would invite the chosen grandchild, which should be a child as young as possible, because the guards are low, right? In a child who's really young, they almost have no guards, and she would prepare. She would send the mother with she would make connecting with the child and the mother of the child, and she would make sure that when she dies, that the child is in the room. Yeah. So when, yeah, she would make sure of that, and then that would be her last will or something, and then they get the whole inheritance or whatnot, whatever she says, right? And then she would make sure, and then when she's leaving, when she passes on, the soul would go immediately onto the child, and then she would try to rule the family through the child. Yeah, definitely, this is happening. So therefore, if you don't think that's a good thing, never allow your children or grandchildren to stay with the relative that is dying, ever. Yeah, never allow that.
Wow.
I was actually worried about my mother because she was also so attached to life and blah blah blah. And I mean, we were in New Zealand when she passed. No, we were not in New Zealand. We were somewhere else. But when she passed away, I actually I knew all of this, and I did not want him to be with her when she died. And that is nothing for a child anyhow. You don't want that at all, I think. Why would you want that? The risk is far too high.
So are you talking about small children?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be small children
Yeah.
around dying people.
Yeah. So 7, 8, 9 is probably, you know, they don't have as much of a shield as an adult to protect themselves. And of course, vibration, right? So as higher your vibrations are, as unlikely is that anything can attach to you. So when you remember the frequency of emotion, when your vibrations is low, then your guard is more open to attach, that anybody, energies or if spirit can attach to you. So that if you're a happy person who is giving, compassionate, selfless, they don't catch any spirits. They are like protected, right? So that's another.
I have another question.
Mhm.
If we can clear attached spirits and possessive energies using a family constellation, like how you said, the color and the spirit, so then why do we need regression for? I mean, why should we do regression?
That's just for one-on-one clients.
Okay, but one-on-one we can use the figures, right?
I have never used it for an attached spirit. Maybe.
Oh, you've never. Okay.
No, I always do the regression.
Oh, you do a regression if it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I tried one day with the figurines, but I have never tried it. It never came to my mind to do it. Rosemary.
So how do you distinguish between an attached spirit and a possessive energy? How do you know it's either or?
Doesn't matter.
Well, the energy doesn't talk to start with.
Oh, yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just something. If somebody feels, if, how can I explain it? If somebody feels that something is weighing them down, and they don't know why, because they are happy normally, they are not depressed or something. Something weighs them down, and then you ask, when did that start? And they say 2 years ago. And then you ask, where have you been? When did it start? Where have you been? Describe that to me. And they say, another public place, whatever. Maybe let's take the nightclub again, right? I was with my mate in a nightclub, we got drunk, and then I felt really bad after that. Then it's just they have caught an energy there. But then when you go in the regression and you ask your client to see if they see somebody, and they don't see somebody, but then they see an object or a color or something, then that's the next hint. But if they see somebody, then it would be more likely an attached spirit.
So this possessive energy, it's not a person, but it comes from, where does it?
Have you not been there?
It's an emotion. Hey?
Oh, maybe you have missed that part. You will see it in the video recording.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's use the remaining time to go through this. So how can we do that? It's a demonstration.
Maya, I need to go. It's already 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You just say bye. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I will watch the recording. I'll watch the regression.
And I see you on Mother's Day. And don't forget to remind me that we want to constellate. What was it again?
The birthing, my birth.
You're birthing your children. Yeah. Very good. Awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Okay, it was very interesting. How do we want to tackle that? Do you want one of you, shall I pick one of you, or you want to volunteer and we demonstrate that with you? Or how do we want to do that?
Make a decision.
Okay, so I think let's do it together. We are visualizing a client, like a virtual client, yeah? And we do that together. So you are on the side of the facilitator, yeah? Shall we do that together? Okay.
Yep. And
then we are visualizing a client who is not there, and then we see if we do that then. Okay. So I'm talking to the client who is not there. Okay. Right. So right. So I would start with. Okay, close your eyes. Start to breathe deep into your belly, in and out, completely inhaling and exhaling. Your eyes are closing, your eyes are relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, the jaw is relaxed. Feel very relaxed. Let go of thoughts. And you go deeper and deeper in your relaxation. And we go, I'm just making it a bit shorter, right? Not so long as normal. And we go to the place where your problem began. When I count to 3, your subconscious will reveal us the information, where it was, when it was, and what has happened. That is the cause of your current problem. 1. And you will feel free of fear, free of any feelings of guilt or shame. 2. And you can look at the situation and you are completely free of any negative emotion. 3. Time goes on. You say, what do you see? Lion says, it's dark. I don't see anything. Say, look down to your feet. Can you see your feet? Yes, I can see my feet. Do you wear shoes? Yes, I wear shoes. What kind of shoes? I wear sandals. Huh? Are you warm or cold? No, I'm warm. So you know, summer somehow, somewhere. Where's warm? Then you say, okay, look up your legs. Do you wear pants or skirt? Are your feet small or big? Are the boots small or big? The sandals small or big? And they say, no, they are small. And I'm wearing pants. And I think I'm actually a boy, and I'm 5 years old. So, okay, good. So look around. Where are you? And at this stage, it's not black anymore, because they can see. And they said, I am in a room. And I said, do you know the room? Say, no, I don't know the room, but it looks like a kitchen. Okay, so I just shortcut it. So more about this room. And then I ask, who's with you? And notice it's all in present tense. Who's with you? And he said, my mother. I said, what's she doing? He says, she's cleaning something on the floor. I said, what has happened? Why does she need to clean? Because you remember when you ask this question, because it's seen, because we are not going with the false memory here, this is a real memory, it has to start something traumatic, so it matters, right? So I asked, what is cleaning? And they said, I think it's some scherben, some broken glass or something like that. So how? You would ask, how does she feel? But she's crying. Oh, she's sad. How do you feel? I'm actually, I'm afraid. Let's say, and I'll say, why is that? Who else is with you? Who else is in the room? And then you would say, my father. And then I would say, what's he doing? And he would say, he's yelling at her. And then you would ask, what is he saying? Because it's important. And she said, I can't hear. That's what they normally say. I can't really hear what it is. And then say, look at the lips. Look at the lips. You can read lips, can you? Yeah. Says, oh, you're so stupid. How could you just throw that off the table or something like that? And then would ask the client again, how do you feel by this? And I said, I think it's my fault. Guilt. Always look for the guilt. Oh, so why? And I think it's my fault. I think I tipped it over the table. Now my mother gets beaten up for it. That's a trauma. Huh? And then you would say, and you say, oh, and then you would say to your client, say, okay, you go into this kitchen now and go next to the child. Take the child in your arms and say, I'm with you. Nothing can happen to you. It's not your fault. Yeah? You're just a child. Things like this happen. And then you would probably, if you're still really afraid of the father and all of this, you would then say to the father, you would kind of push him away. You would suggest to the client, say, push the father away and say, stop. You have no right to hurt this child. And then you would do the spiritual healing. You would take so you ask to say to the client, and now you take your child and at your hand. First of all, ask, do you feel better now? And say, yeah, I'm feeling really good now. Then you know, okay, good. So then you say, okay, take your child and go out of this room onto a cloud, onto a white cloud. Sit there and then open up to a shower from light that is showering all this dirt away. That is the guilt or the shame, until you're completely clean, and see how the dirty water, the river of dirt, filth, is floating into an ocean and completely dissolving there. So nothing is, you can see nothing anymore. And you ask the client, can you see that? And yes, I can see that. No, it's all gone now. Okay, now you dress the child and yourself into white clothes, clean, white, shiny clothes. And then ask, yeah, how do you look? Yeah, we are looking beautiful. Okay, good. And now take your child, big hug, and take it into your heart. Open your heart and take it in. So it's always with you. This clean, white child. And then you would do that. And then you would say, and then allow your heart to emit your white light, your light, and fill in every gap in your body that is remaining, or every space, every cell, every space between the cells, everything, right? And also into the emotional body and also into the spiritual body. So it's kind of emanating from the body and expanding. And then you would already see that the client starts to smile because it feels so good. and then when you leave it there a few moments, and then you said, and now you can come back into the room where we are sitting. And then I would count as well. It makes it easier for the client. One, and you feel relaxed and you remember everything. Two, and you can open your eyes when the problem is solved. 3, and when the client opens the eyes, yay. And when the client doesn't open the eyes, which also happens, then you have to go back because something is not solved. Something is missing. So this is a typical example, actually one that I had, where something that looks like nothing from the perspective of the child is life-threatening. Yeah, this scene in the kitchen, and this is why it became and this was a childhood memory which I was guiding you to, right? But it could have also been in a past life. So that doesn't matter if it was his life or another life. That actually makes no difference. Okay, any questions? Good.
So in a way, if you had to go back, if the client didn't open his eyes, where would you start to go back?
I would go back to the kitchen. No, I would start new. I would start the whole sequence new. I would not go back to the kitchen. I would start the whole sequence new. I would say, okay, we're going now where the problem really started. And do the whole thing now.
So
and
it could be something.
Could be something else. Yeah, could have been a detour, the kitchen thing. And you do that maximum twice. You're not doing more than that, because otherwise it would be exhausting, and you probably won't go anywhere. Anyhow. Yeah. And as always, practice. So go out, find a friend, and just do that. Yeah.
If I carry on like that, I don't think I will have any friends left.
Then you take Peter. He will not leave you for that. Or take your dogs. Practice with your dogs. Whatever. Reem, are you okay?
Yes. I agree with Rosemary too. But good for me, at least I can practice with my family.
You can practice
They
with
are my
your
guinea
sister.
pigs.
Absolutely. And your mother and your father. I'm sure you can. Yeah. Very good. Okay, I leave you with this. I see you on Mother's Day. Looking forward to that workshop. And yeah, I think that's the next event, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What date is it? What?
8th of May? 8th of May, 6th of
8th
May? 8th of May.
I think it's too early for me, so I think I won't, as in timing day-wise, I might not wake up for it. So
yes,
I'll see you next
why not? Why
sure.
not? Why not? Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.